Alliance is an organization of block clubs and nonprofit organizations within South Shore. We actually have block club leaders in 7 different neighborhoods surrounding South Shore. Woodlawn, South Chicago, Greater Grand Crossing, Avalon Park, Calumet Heights, and South Deering. I think I missed one, but I think that's it. However, we have little organizers in those areas. We've trained them. They work with us. When we come together, it's a collaboration of 7 neighborhoods, and it could grow, but we have to build our capacity for that. Some people may know us as the Southeast Side Block Club Alliance. The reason why we changed our name is because we are creating networks within the community. Networks is a little bit more attractive than block clubs to the Generation Xers and Millennials. When we talk about block clubs, most people think of the block party, the snitch group, the elder club. And as we are transitioning as we are transitioning to the next generation of leaders, we need to speak their language. So generally what we're doing is creating networks of arts and culture, health and wellness, economic development, at some point transportation, but not just yet, but we are looking to develop those type of networks, housing, and all of them. Today we are talking about transportation. This is the South Shore Speaks that's monthly forum that happens every third Saturday of the month. Each topic that we take on is an opportunity to build a network. And last month we had arts and culture. The month before that, public safety. One second.
So if there's people parked in the back, like this, so the rest of them are like this.
Against the building?
There's cars parked
In the
north
middle?
and south.
In the middle?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm parked facing the building. I pulled into a parking spot.
Yeah, you're taking up a lot of spaces, and I'm just trying to, thank you so much. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
I'm in front.
Last month you had.
Oh yeah, so last month we had arts and culture, and we have 7 arts and culture nonprofits in South Shore that's coming together to talk about arts and culture. And from that, there will be projects that come together as a collaboration around arts and culture organizations in South Shore. The month before that, we have public safety. Public safety, there are not public safety organizations in South Shore. There's just the police department. So what we're doing is we have a weekly walk, stroll, and talk where we walk the blocks of South Shore and talk about public safety or getting involved in a community organization.
Okay.
Let me finish, please. And from that, we do this every month until we can get our area councils up and going, which is a designated area where community members govern that area. It's within a 15 to 40 block radius as we create these networks. And then, like I said, today we're talking about public safety, and not public safety, transportation, because South Shore has been known for having some of the best transportation, especially on the south side. But there's always something that we can always improve in, and you kind of need to know what's going on that you might not know because we're not in those rooms. So before we get started, we have Metro here, and we have Lyft. Lyft is representing Divvy. We did ask CTA to come. They had committed to coming, and then they decided not to. So we cannot speak with them about, what you would mind if you came for CTA. Your questions can't be answered, but we can always call them out, right? So we can always do that. We can always say that was not a good move.
Inquiry, email.
Right, email, social media, let them know that just wasn't a good last minute move because we plan to have them here. So how this is going to go is Metro is going to do their presentation, then Divvy is going to do their presentation, and then we'll do Q&A. Is that okay with you all? Okay.
Just quick. Do you also
Very
have
quick.
future committees for schools and parks?
Yes, we have education coming up in September. Did you see our email? I know you read them quite often.
I may have missed
Yeah,
it.
and you didn't miss any of them. So, we're gonna let this out. Education is the month of September, economic development is the month of October.
The third Saturday.
I won't abuse you today, but, but you,
The third Saturday, I can put it
the
down?
third Saturday
Here?
of the month.
Here?
Yes. So we're gonna turn this over.
Okay.
Promises.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you?
Great, good.
I want you to please note when you send your emails, your social media hashtags that Metro was here. We are in the house.
Metro! Yes.
It is a Saturday.
Metro ain't scared.
One of my most treasure days of the week because I try to keep it to myself, but I am here. As
Thank you.
My father would say, your word is your bond. So I'm glad to be here. I am Janice Thomas. The R is there on purpose. My name is Janice Renee Thomas. My mother named me that, so I like to use my R. And when people leave it out, I get a little irritated. So I make sure that if I tell Kim to make sure they always put my middle initials. But I am from Metro. I am the Senior Division Director. I'm responsible for two major areas within our agency. The first one is the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program. I'm responsible for making sure we have diversity and inclusion in our contracts, that we also monitor those contracts, that we conduct outreach in the community so that small business owners can understand how to both access and do business with Metro. And we're also responsible for making sure prevailing wage is being paid on our contracts. On the other side of the house, I am also responsible for our community relations. That is where we get out and we engage the community, we attend these types of events, we answer any questions and concerns, try to address them for all of our 242 stations that we have within our service area. So that's just a little brief synopsis about me. I've been with Metro, it'll be 10 years next year, and I'm not going to talk any more about me. I'm going to move through this because I don't know my time. And I could use CTA's time, but I won't. You go to the next slide. You go to the next slide. Okay, third one. There you go. So for those that may know and those that may not, Metro has a pretty large service area. We have 11 routes, and our primary function is to bring commuters from the suburbs into the city. We have 242 stations. That's a lot of stations, I would say, within our system. Over 500 route miles, and we do about 1,200. We have about 1,200 miles of track. So that's a lot of maintenance, a lot of trains running. We operate about 700 trains a year. Weekdays. And then we provide about 300,000 passenger trips, during the week. So that's a lot of trains moving back and forth, a lot of people. So this is just a map of all the areas that we service. I'll go to the next part. I'm going to give you an overview, and I'm going to address some of the other reasons why I was asked to be here today. This is our zone. So Metro is a zone base. Sometimes we get asked the question, you ride the CTA, it's a flat fare of $225 or $250 based on your, if you have a pass or whatever they call it. On Metro, there are different ways to ride. Either you're a one-way rider and you're paying a fare based on the zone that you board. Okay, so that's why the further out you are, the more it costs as opposed to if you're in the city. There's a 10 ride, you can ride 10 times, that takes you for about a week. And if you're a monthly rider, that's what I am. And I do not, I want to dispel the myth. Metro employees do not ride the system for free. We don't even get a discount for riding. We pay full fare to ride on the service, okay?
No French benefits?
No French benefits. I am a monthly trained rider. I have been riding on Metro for about 22 years, so I was a committed rider before I was an employee. And I am a monthly card holder, okay? And then there's the weekend pass as well. If you don't need the service except on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, you can get a weekend pass for $10 and you can ride anywhere on the service. Okay, the monthly pass, it does have some additional benefits that it didn't used to have. And this is something new. If we had a monthly pass, my pass is from A to F. I could go anywhere on any of our other 10 lines within the A to F. Now, on the weekend, I can go anywhere within on our other lines, outside of my zone, which that is a good benefit if it's something I decided I want to do. And sometimes I will take the train. Why will I do that? I don't have to worry about traffic. I don't have to worry about parking when I get to where I'm going. And then, like I said, unlimited rides in between your zones. You can use it on the weekend for unlimited travel in zones beyond yours. And then there's also where you can do the link up in the Pace Bus Plus bus as well to connect. But it's additional fee for that. And I'm not going to talk about CTA and Pace and their fees. Okay. Chicago. This is our the monthly pass, the 10-day, the weekend pass that will allow you on Saturday and Sunday to ride the service as much as you want to for that $10.
It's not bad.
Not bad at all. The Venture app, those that may know or may not, those that are into technology, you can download the app. You can buy your ticket, whether it's a one-way, 10 ride, or monthly, right on your phone. Okay. Safety. To us, safety is always number one. It's key in anything that we do. We not only want to provide a fast service, but we want to provide a safe, quick, clean, efficient service to all of our commuters. And it's not just for you, but we also preach this to our employees. We want you to go home at the end of the day to your families and your friends and your life. Okay? We have a new app that was rolled out, and it's called the COPS app. So if you're anywhere in the vicinity of our stations or on the trains, and you see something that is concerning, unattended bag, you see somebody looking suspicious, see some suspicious activity, you can quickly report that through the COPS app. So this is some new information that we're pushing out. We're going to be doing more with our marketing team to market this more. Not that we have heard of anything to alarm anyone, but it is also good to always be prepared and have the information that you need ready and available if something should happen. So please download this. You can go to the Apple Store. If you're an iPhone user, if you're an Android user, Google Play. Okay. This here, we're going to talk about our commitment to South Shore and some of the things that we feel that we must start to do. There's plenty of things that need to be done. And those that don't know, live at this I always mess your name up, I'm sorry, from the coalition of
Modern Metro Electric.
Metro Electric. Yeah. She's very passionate about what she does, and she does have some of her concerns, desires, and wishes, and we are cooperating with that. But I'm here to talk from the customer service perspective, some things that we have to own and make a commitment to do better than we've done in the past. So this here is the South Shore area.
Can you go back to the map for a second?
I don't want to take any questions, keep going. You have to wait till I'm finished. Please, that's the direction we gave, and I want to follow those. Is that what you told me?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. I'll answer your questions in the end. And then, can you go to the next one, please? Okay. One of the things we want to say, some may know and some may not. I know Linda knows. There was a study that was done, and it was called what? Station optimization.
Station optimization.
And the study kind of gave a message that was not the intention. It sent the message that we were going to be looking to close stations, and that was not the intention. I think it is good to know what you have in your system. What's good, what's bad, what needs to be improved, what's missing, what can you do to make things better. That was the intention of the study, but it didn't get message quite that way to the community. So we want you to understand, particularly it was going to impact stations, about 23 of them within the city on the Metro Electric District. We will not be closing any stations, okay?
Good to hear.
Good to hear.
Yay.
Yay. We get a clap. I say we not only showed up, but we got a clap. Okay? The other thing, Metro is committed to improving and properly maintaining our stations. Good news, on Thursday of last week, I brought this week, I'm still in the week, I'm moving on. On Thursday, I brought our chairman, Mr. Norm Carlson, out, and we did a tour on the South Shore, I say South Shore, South Chicago area. We went to all of the stations, we took him out, we got out, we walked through the stations, allowed him to look, helped him to understand. I had a conversation about connecting culture to, the small businesses. It's all the things you need, the unique stores, unique restaurants, art, crafts, those things you find in our community. And this is why having a nice, efficient, clean service, train stations, all that is important. So I commended him for spending half the day with us, riding up and down, getting out, taking pictures and tours of our stations. So we want to do better at what we do. And that is making sure that we are properly cleaning, maintaining, and addressing issues with our stations. I will say this, and Linda can attest to this. I'm going to call your name a lot, Linda. For the first time in a long time, the state of Illinois passed what? A capital budget. Yes, and as a result of that, that means that the transportation agencies now have funding, capital funding that's needed to address some of the capital needs that we have. All right? So we want to ensure that our stations are not only clean, but you want to feel what? Safe when you are waiting for the train. So one of the things is that COPS app that we have. We do have police that are around, but our motto, our chief of police is not that we just have police standing on a red square and looking for something to happen. Sometimes that's not a good message to send to the community either. But police are there, they're available, whether they're in a marked car, unmarked car. If something should happen, they're there quickly to address your issues. If you call the Chicago police, it also will come and dispatch Metro. But one of the things that we want to do is put cameras. Yeah. That was something that I also came out on the tour with our chief engineering officer. Because I said, I need you to be here because you're the one that makes sure these things that we need happen. I'm the one that get all the calls and phone calls and emails and complaints. You know, I call them concerns. But then we have to work with our different departments to make these happen. So one of the things we're committed to is creating and adding more cameras, not only in the head house, but along the platform. And those cameras are being monitored by our police department back at 547. So that's a message that we want to send so that people feel even more safe and secure. We will improve our crossing signals. So we heard that sometimes it's called a sunspot. If you are turning to go across the tracks, there's a little light that flashes to let you know a train is coming. From some, we heard that depends on the direction of the sun, it can be blinding. So we want to make sure that we're providing the right kind of warning and alerts about our crossings so that everyone feels safe when they're going across the track. Next, new measure. Our CEO has kind of tagged this, I think you got to hit it again. Okay. That we want to be a new Metro. Metro is over 30-something years old. And sometimes what happens, and we're a career-oriented business, meaning that people that work there tend to stay until they are ready to go. 20, 30, 40 plus years. There's someone that's been there over 60-something years. So it's very career-oriented, and sometimes what happens, you can get stuck in, this is how we always did it. Okay? So we want to send a message that we're more customer-focused. And that means that when even I send my staff out, I say to them, don't look at it from the Metro's perspective. Look at the stations, look at the service, look at the trains from the eyes of how a customer would view it. And in order to do that, we have to have this dedication from the top down. And our CEO is committed to us being more customer-focused. Can you hit it again? Hit it again. Thank you. I really appreciate you doing this with me. Community partner. Partnering means we're out here on a Saturday. You know? I know. Talking to you, taking some of your questions. Sometimes that may mean you get a little beat up. That's all right. That's a part of the job. Because if you have a concern and you don't know, it's our purpose and our place to make sure you understand that we want to be a community partner with you. That's why we're cooperating with the modern
Metro Electric.
Yes. We want to be more efficient in what we do. And fun and engaging. I'm going to talk about that next slide. Go to the next one. Fun on the Metro Electric line. Do you know that on the Metro Electric line, it connects you from downtown Chicago, from the south suburbs all the way down, east, all the way over. On the line, what do you have? We're in one today, kind of, sort of, I believe. You got museums, you got entertainment, and by the way, that stands for what? MED. And you have dining on the Metro Electric. And then South Shore is very vital to this line because there are a lot of those things that are going to be in this area, like what? Hopefully it'll be Hyde Park, have a touch of South Shore, the what?
The Obama Presidential Center.
Yeah.
Which hopefully won't be here.
We're not going to debate any of that. So we won't talk about any of those kinds of things. Encourage you to ride Metro and experience all that the south side of the town has to offer. Because don't you believe that there's a lot here?
Oh,
One
yes.
of the things that I posted when I first got here, I took a picture and posted about this building because I need people that live in the south suburbs to know right here there is a hidden jewel on the south side of Chicago. So I thought that
And they will drive here, they will not take the train here.
we're not gonna listen. It's always a happen, so we're not going to say
I'm telling the
Go
truth.
on to the next one. Okay, making Metro fun. In 2020, these are some of the things that we are looking to do. Participate more in the Hyde Park Brew Fest, making sure that passengers or commuters or attendees understand that here's an option for you. Silver Room Block Club, the Black Women's Expo. We want to partner with some sport teams to remind that there is a service, and that will mean probably some kind of ticketing and stuff that goes along with that. Metro takes you to new adventures. We're looking at an app that if you use it, it'll offer you some kind of promotional things like a free Starbucks or something like that. Film, music, Art Institute exhibits. So these are some of our plans, and we have never thought like that in the agency.
That's for sure.
So, our marketing department, Mr. Robert Griggs, he comes with a lot of energy, and he has a big task ahead of him. But these are some of the things that we have planned, and hopefully you'll look forward to seeing these things in the future. Okay, so it's a part of making Metro fun, and that came from when I was at the chamber. One of the attendees said, Metro, how do you make Metro cool again? That was a concern they had. How do you make it cool? We just see trains running up and down in our community. And in order to make it cool, make it engaging, we have to partner with the different communities and the events that are going on. I think that's all I had. I came to try to put a positive spin and to say that Metro is here. We want to work with you. I'm not here on a political agenda, so I will not address, talk, entertain any of those kinds of conversations. But if there is a direct question for me on something that I can take back and we can really address, I will do that. But right now, I understand I am not taking any questions. The next speaker will be Lift. And the reason I do this so well, that's one of the other things that I do is speak a lot in the public. I want to say this. Coming on September 4th for our DD side of the house, we have our annual vendor fair, which is free. We're expecting over 500 attendees. We'll have a lot of prime contractors there. We're going to have a workshop focused specifically on the P2P8. There's our board member. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Corey Timms. But it's a free event. All you need to do is register. So I'm going to leave these here in the back. Can I put them on the table? Okay, and I'll be around for any relevant questions, anything that I said. Thank you.
So while we're getting set up, good afternoon. My name is Ty, and this is my colleague Devin, and we work for Lyft, which owns the Divvy system in the city of Chicago. So as I'm sure a lot of you know, Chicago operates a share-by-share system. And those are the blue bikes that you might see in different neighborhoods across the city of Chicago. And currently, Lyft and the city of Chicago believe that biking is critical to creating safer, healthier, economically vibrant communities. And the city of Chicago also believes that it's a solution to the last mile problem. Or the first mile problem, as some people might call it as well, which is, busing can take you only so far, but between where your bus drops you off and where you actually work, there might be a considerable distance, and biking is one way to traverse that distance. All right, And so we want to kind of emphasize two key messages. The first is that bike share is a form of transportation that can help communities to save money. We also believe that it can be an equitable form of transportation, and that Divvy is a system that all Chicagoans should have access to no matter where you live in the city. And also that biking is healthy, and biking for just 20 minutes a day can reduce a person's risk of heart disease, diabetes, and other chronic illnesses.
Yeah. Well, we have three main ways to ride with Divvy. We have a single ride pass, which is $3 a trip. That gives you a 30-minute ride. We have an Explorer Pass, which I believe we changed the name of that, right? Explorer Pass is for our tourists. That gives you 3-hour rides over a 24-hour period. And we have an annual membership, which is $99 a year, unlimited 45 minutes rides. Whenever you get to another station, you just plug in and restart your time. Throughout the entire city of Chicago, we have Divvy access from right at the Evanston line all the way down to 85th, 85th on the south side, all the way to the Austin Oak Park line. So we have like 600 of these stations across the entire city. We cover like hundreds of miles of access for Divvy ridership. There it is right here. Over 100 square miles, serving 1.5 million residents. 608 stations. That's going to be increasing as we extend further down, because we actually are trying to get down towards the end of the red line here on the south side, and trying to, like you said, connect those commutes in between your commutes. As you try to get home from the train station, as you try to get home from work, those little small connections where you have access to get around.
And ensuring that because of Lyft's or Divvy's partnership with CDOT, the goal is really to be in all zip codes in the city of Chicago by 2021. And that involves increasing biking infrastructure, that involves rolling out different types of bikes, new bikes, and the scooters that some of y'all may have seen around the city. Cool. So there's two ways to essentially purchase a short-term pass. The first way is you might see the kiosks. The kiosks are usually located next to the bikes. A card is needed for that, and you simply go up and follow the instructions on screen, and then you would get a pass. The other method is through the app, which is on the next slide. And the Divvy app allows you to get a pass, and it essentially works in the same way. And if you are
if you are an annual member, we have these keys where you literally just walk up to any. I used today actually. You just walk up to any of the bikes, any of the stations, any kiosk. You put it in, the light turns green, you pull it out. It's extremely useful and convenient, as opposed to sitting there and playing with that computer screen.
Cool. However, we recognize that within the city of Chicago and within many communities in the United States, transportation equity is a major flashpoint for communities, especially Black and brown communities. And so to combat this, we also recognize that some of the price points that we talked about before aren't accessible for everyone in the city of Chicago. And since we believe that bike share is a way to both promote healthy habits, in addition to connecting riders to jobs and things like that, we have a program called Divvy for Everyone. And the basic premise of Divvy for Everyone is that you can use the bike share system for only $5 for an entire year.
Yes, that gives you an entire year's worth of Divvy access for qualifying families based off of your household income. It's just literally as simple as it sounds. If you qualify for WIC, if you qualify for most social services in the city, or in the state rather, you can qualify for Divvy. You can go to any of our locations and pay for that, or you can do it like sign up at one of our events. Yeah.
And so the way that it works is in year one, you pay $5, and that gives you access to the entire system for a year. In year two, that $5 is increased to $25 for the year. And then in year three, it's $50, and then it's capped in year four at $75 as compared to the $99 that people who don't qualify for the program would pay. Anything else I'm missing? Oh, and the other thing is because we recognize that many communities, there are residents that are unbanked, You don't need a credit card to sign up. You can also sign up at different locations, 7-Eleven, things like that.
7-Eleven, CVS, and some of
Financial.
locations as well. I think the closest one to here is actually the CARE program of Quad Community Center for Working Families on King Drive. 46.
That's not really close.
Well, that's the closest one to
Yeah. But also at any of our events that we are at, you can come to us and we can sign you up right there, take your cash, and then do it manually online.
And as we expand the program, we are partnering with other locations and things like that to allow people access to sign up for it.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're expanding. That's the whole point of the outreach. Find out what people need so we can, move forward.
Do people have to provide their financial positions at these sign-ups, or is there a private way?
I don't
to do
believe
that?
so. I don't believe they're not telling. It's more
It's kind of on the honor system.
honor system.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to
Because
say
I was
that,
just
but
gonna-
it's kind
I
of.
was just gonna say,
Yes.
I would, if I was one of these participants, I wouldn't feel comfortable to share my
Yeah.
personal financial with just anybody else,
Yeah, but it's also at locations where they do process things.
So,
Lyft,
okay.
Gentlemen, I know the city really well, and do you have,
We'll have questions for you.
Write your questions down.
I don't need to write it down, they're in my head.
Okay. Hold your questions. We're almost done.
All right, so essentially these are the metrics, the maximum household income that you have to qualify for the Divvy for Everyone program. And there is a considerable amount of Chicago population that does fit within these metrics. And most importantly, the reason why we come to events like this is that as the Divvy system expands, the communities are going to need to tell us where do they want the bike stations at, where would they like to sign up at, and things like that, as opposed to us coming in and saying, okay, we're going to put it right there, so that is an actual dialogue, and that is actually meeting the needs of the community, because we know that when people don't consider the needs of the community, things can have unintended
And
consequences.
with Lyft buying the parent company of Divvy, they are very receptive. They're trying to be very receptive to the community's needs. So it's not just talk service. They're really, as they try to expand, we really want to know where we should be to continue to provide services.
So I missed something. I can't ask questions.
Cool. So these are just the highlights that we were saying. There's no credit card required, so that everyone can have access to the system. $5 subsidized annual membership in the first year. Cash payment option. These list financial opportunity centers are a place where people sign up for benefits, and so we just have a table right there after you sign up for your benefits, and you can come and get this additional, get access to this additional program. The main thing to note is that it is only for Chicago residents. In addition to, there's a limited program in Evanston as well. Okay. So yeah, for Chicago residents only, and then there is an age limit just for liability and safety concerns. You have to be 16 years or older, and if you're 16, you have to have parental consent. And then
They can still have a membership. They just have to have. There's a second waiver that's in there regarding this system.
yeah. So the current expansion plan is focusing on the far south side. There was a slide earlier. I'm trying to. So eventually, we're going to be all across the city of Chicago. That's the goal, and a lot of that comes from having these types of conversations with communities to figure out where they want to place the stations. They're also investing in electric bikes because a person who's using these bikes for leisure is okay with pedaling, but if you're trying to get to work, right, then a motorized bike is going to be a tool that's much more useful for you. And so they are actually starting to roll these bikes out in, I believe, the far south side, as opposed to places like the Loop or things like that. Where people have.
It's testing them out in terms of speed, things like that. They're trying to find a good speed that's safe and effective for people. The city wants a certain speed, we want a certain speed, so we're trying to get that to work, guys. It's all about partnership, figuring out what works so people aren't just out there zooming down on the day ride or something.
And if you're like using a bike to get to work, obviously if you're pedaling, you're going to be all sweaty and things like that. So a motorized bike is a much better solution. And so that's just a picture of the electric bikes that are going to be rolled out shortly.
Also, this is the future of how we're trying to change the docking stations, where you can have pretty much like a bike line attached to the bike, so you can pretty much lock it anywhere. Because a lot of the communities that we've experienced, that we've dealt with, a lot of people don't like they call it like a street furniture, like the big blue kiosk with the bikes laid out, and she agrees. And we're trying to change that out a little bit by having something a little more subtle and having a way where you can dock them in a different kind of, more natural kind of way.
Cool. So that's our presentation on Duty for Everyone, and I think now we can take
Yes,
questions.
you all can sit up here. So you'll take questions now, and probably Ms. Brown, please be respectful. Keep your questions down to the science, like this can't be a whole 20-minute dialogue on one question. And let's get it going.
So I'd like to give you some suggestions for places to put a new station. Calumet Park, Gately Stadium, Eckersall Stadium. Do you guys know these stadiums?
I know Calumet Park.
95th and the Lake.
What was the second one? Gately?
Gately Stadium, 103rd and Cottage, and there's going to be a new indoor track building. That's a $55 billion project that's coming. It's being built right now. Eckersall Stadium is like 85th and Yates, something like that. Chicago State University. The regional 95th and King Drive.
There's one around. There's one around
I'm a
Chicago
former
State.
student. I'm a former student.
Okay, got it.
Do you know the regional library at 95th and Halsted?
Woodson, Carnegie Woodson.
Yeah, I've been there before. And eventually, the Big Marsh Park, and farther, the Harborside Golf Course even. I'm a biker. I mean, I have my own bike.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever ridden in Mercury?
I've never had any reason to. I take my bike on the bus downtown. I mean,
Well, since you're passionate about it, we do have free ride passes, so you can try it.
I
because
mean-
you seem to be pretty passionate about the entire
I
process.
mean, the only reason I didn't ride my bike here was I had other errands to do and it was raining and stuff. But no, I mean, I know it's a good service for those people that need it. I just personally don't need it.
Got it.
But
yeah.
I'm not against it. I'm just saying, I want to make sure that you have enough docking stations wherever it is. On the far south side, I know
One
it's.
thing I live out here, I live on 77th and Essex, and pretty much every other block in any direction. I can go to the grocery store, I can go to the train, I can go to the bus, and I can ride there, drop my bike, and walk half a block to where
And
I
then
need to go. So
in
it's-
connection with Metro,
Yes.
the last station on the line, the southeast line, and I'll stop by, I got questions for you.
Thank you.
So I just have a comment. I went to a presentation, and Metro was there before, also I went to one with the Chamber of Commerce. When I hear Regional Transportation Authority as a consumer, that means I want every piece of transportation I could ever use working together. So what I hear though, as I come to meetings, Metro's doing this, Divvy's doing that, CTA probably got their own plan, everybody's got their own plan. But what I would like to see is some collaboration between the transportation units to say, we have coverage from here to, even though it may not be the type of coverage people want, but where there are those deserts or where there are those missing links, sit with the community and say, hey, Cal Park, we noticed that you don't have transit between here and here. What can we do for you? That's what I would really like all the transportation people to take away from these types of meetings. Janice mentioned partnering with the community. That would be a real nice partnership if first you guys all came together. So we have one document. I don't have to go to 5 different websites. I don't have to go to everybody, every carrier. I want a regional something that says, here's where we recognize we are short And these are the things that we're suggesting as short-term solutions and then long-term solutions. And I think it makes pretty much everybody happy in the Chicagoland region.
At least over on the southeast side.
That was just a takeaway. I'd
Yeah.
like you guys to take back.
I think that's
More
great
working
feedback.
together.
Interoperability is definitely
Yes.
something I think that the entire, I know that there's different funding streams and things like that,
And I
CDOT,
understand that.
IDOT, et cetera.
Yeah.
But definitely talking to each other, I think is
It's good.
It's just one Chicago.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just as a follow-up to that very good point, in San Francisco Bay Area and in some other geographic regions, there's something called 511, which is like 411 for information, 911 for safety. 511 is an umbrella website, a telephone number, and it brings all the agencies together. So that might be something that you all could work on, think about.
I'm gonna make it do this.
New York Airways.
Yeah.
Quick question on Diddy. The CTA bus only runs, well, we have a jump bus. It runs from down Jeffrey.
Jeffrey 14.
Yeah, and there's a gap somewhere. There's a stop at 75th Street, and there's a Diddy bikes available. So people can get from 71st to 75th. Is there a way that you can take a Diddy bike home after you get off the bus?
Yeah, because there's another one at 79th and Jaffrey too.
Right, but from 75th to 71st Street.
Oh, so we're from 71st?
Yeah, so just say you just want to ride your bike from 75th to 72nd Street, or something, just that in between point.
Actually, if you go on our app, they show the actual all of our stop locations.
Right, right.
And I think there are some in the cross street. I don't know all the 600 stops in the city, but I'm pretty sure there are some in some of those cross streets over in that area as well.
So the other
But
thing
the
is,
question is, can you take them home?
No,
and
no.
take them up and take that bike back and put it back and get on the bus the next day.
the other part of this is right now the Diddy system is based upon those kiosks, but with the expansion of the mobile bikes, you'll be able to lock them to basically like most things. And so similar to the scooters, how you can just leave them anywhere, and as long as like if you make a reservation or something like that, you can come out and get that the next day. I think that's where parts of the system are moving, but currently, no, it's all based upon those kiosks. You have to return to a kiosk.
And you have to return to the keys within a certain amount of time, so otherwise there's a charge fee, like a $3 charge fee.
Don't they lose their power too?
I'm sorry?
There's the power side.
Oh yeah, yep.
Okay, and just also to take off from that question, so why are there Diddy bikes sometimes laying around? I've seen some in my alley, I've seen some here and there. So how does that,
So in the past there was an issue with
Thieves.
Yeah.
the people stealing the
Thieves
bikes.
sensitive.
That was actually a mechanical issue that we actually ended up fixing.
They were seeing them out, but I know.
Yeah.
they could just pull
What it was that they were loud. Sometimes some people complained about how loud they were documenting the bikes. So there was this one piece that we removed to make that less of a loud transaction, and that one piece made it easier to take the bikes out. And
It's like a screwdriver.
it makes it easier. But we fixed that, so now they're that's you can't just pull them out anymore. It's still easy to to unlock when you put them out when you need to, but it's not like something you can just pull out.
So a couple of things about Metro. And I emailed Tanya, and this goes back a couple of weeks already.
Your email. I have your
So,
email.
you know
Listening
the-
to what you're talking about.
You know the viaduct.
Yes, we understand the viaduct 56 that you are
And
referring to.
compared to all the other ones, it's the horrific one.
We are very well aware. We have a program. As I said, we just got a capital bill for almost 11 years. That is on our list. We have, as you know, a very large system, very massive. So I did go out with Tanya myself, and we looked at those columns. We took pictures. We're working with our engineering department, but it is on the list. Some of that also is a combination of ownership between Metro and the CN. So, and also you have CDOT. We talk about the lighting under the viaduct. So you have a combination of who owns what and who's responsible, but we're very much aware. And as far as Tanya responding to your email, I got your email. Tanya did respond immediately, and she is working to get, she responded to us, because you always email. You don't email once, you email all the time. So
No,
we
I
got your email.
hadn't emailed her
We're
in
taking
months.
care of it. We got you, we're taking
Okay,
care of it.
so another thing,
Okay.
totally separate.
Let's do it.
The end of the line on the Metro Electric
The
Southeast.
University Park.
No, Southeast. The-
Okay.
There are huge opportunities if you guys could get 3 or 4 blocks maybe, I'm not quite sure, but if there was some way you could find, get right of way to extend the end of the line all the way to South Shore Drive. I mean, I would have to look at the homes and,
I think that's a good conversation for you to add to Linda's list of things
but
that she thinks important.
you know, the US Steel property is, I'm very much on top of that. You know, I visit Steel Workers Park often. If you got your, what do you need, about 30 yards in width? And if you could extend the train, whatever that half mile or less, I think it would open up, you know, just like the trains in the Wild West. They brought the civilization, you know, and I think that's something to be considered if the aldermen will work with you on that and the developers. I mean, I know it's happened.
But you email us that, so I'll make sure I have exactly what it is you
Well, I've got Tanya's email.
So send us that email.
And then finally,
Yes, sir.
I don't know if it's a continual problem. Occasionally, I go to Eisenhower High School, and I'm on 127th for the Blue Line extension. And sometimes it seems like the gates there, they're going down, they're going up, they're like, and they're maybe doing some testing, but the interference with traffic has caused 3 block backups and stuff.
Okay.
And so I don't know if there's a consistent problem every few months with that particular
So
intersection.
you're talking about the crossing on 127th Street?
Yeah, I just,
So what I need you to do, just like you emailed us about those columns, can you email that concern about if the gates appear to be going up and down when they shouldn't be? That is something we will address immediately. Also, there is a number on there that you can also call to report any issues with a gate immediately. But if you would email us what your concern is, we would most definitely take care of that.
it's just happened once or twice. And
Sure,
then, I mean,
let us know.
there's other railroad issues with, you know, it's not your responsibility. Freight cars sitting, you know,
And
it's horrible.
thank you. Make sure you send Tanya those emails.
So this is from Metro also, but again, everything that I say, guys, let me just say this, I think every transportation person can learn from this. Janice, if you're the central hub for like the community, he's sending you emails, she's sending you emails, I would like to see a summarization of, here's what I've heard from South Shore, Calumet, Deering, and then, of course, capital funding only goes so far, right?
Yes, that's true.
And then the prioritization process, it would be nice to say, hey, community, here's what we got from everybody in South Shore. Let's sit in the room now and hear what you say is priority.
Okay, so if I could, I think that's a good point you just made. He doesn't know I'm pointing him. One of our Metro board members in the back, Mr. Corey Timms, he represents the city of the Metro board.
Okay.
I think that is a good recommendation. We figure out how we would do that.
Right.
Because we want to make sure that it was something that was productive.
Yes.
If we are working with the funding sources in Springfield and Chicago to say, we have a capital bill that was passed.
Yes.
We already had a backlog of things that we need to
Need to
address,
do.
such as these
Right.
columns.
Right.
So when we add on all of the other community needs,
Yes.
we need to have a different conversation that involves the community.
I love it.
Than if there is a group that is focused on how do we really move forward and address those issues and help them understand that funding is still important. You did this great thing, but this great thing can't stop. So I think that's great, but he is the director, but I'll generally punt that to him.
Okay, and like I said, I think,
With his chamber.
and I know Metro has to have their own priority too, because I know safety, blah, blah, blah. You know, you have to, as a business, have to operate. But what I'm saying is some transparency.
Yes.
So we as a community can know, hey, it was only $1 million given in capital money, y'all.
Yeah.
And here's where it went. So if you can't get it this year, we're gonna push for next year and get your state reps and everybody involved in that process.
We need more people like you.
Yes, ma'am.
And talking to those elected officials. So that's a good point that you
Okay,
did.
yeah, we need to work
You see our
together.
t-shirt,
to make
right?
things
Yeah, I
happen.
see that. Yeah, I see that. Mr. B, question?
Yes, it's a nice question. Perhaps it was wishful thinking on my part, but I thought I heard that Metro was considering a rate decrease.
So, I knew you were gonna talk about Linda's favorite topic, and I thought I
Put you on
would
the
get out
spot.
of here without that topic. So, you are referring to the Cook County Mobility Study. And Metro is participating and cooperating with Cook County. That study made a couple recommendations, and one of those recommendations was if the fare was reduced, or there was a fare that was similar, equivalent to the fare that you paid on the CTA. So that is something that we are at the table with Cook County, PACE, and hopefully with CTA to talk about how do we implement that. So it's something that I wouldn't say is more of a wishful thinking, just a matter of how do we get to what it is that we'll implement that will be good for all of the residents and the riders along the MED. So don't give up on that. And sure as Linda is still breathing blood in her veins, she's not going away. So hopefully something will come from that. Okay.
Thank you.
You want to add something to what you said, though?
Oh yeah, I was saying in terms of like the summarization of like concerns and like how we're gonna. That's something actually that we're working on. That we're planning on working on in the future. Me and Ty actually just got started working for Divvy. We're both former organizers and things like that. So they're trying to implement a lot of those ideas. That's why they hired us on to come out and actually talk to the community and give a summary of what you said and how we're tackling it. That's what I was trying to. And I forgot that.
Okay, perfect. A quick question from Metro. I had two questions actually. Are you familiar with the new fencing that will be going on the street level in South Sugar?
Right alongside the tracks.
It's alongside the tracks.
So is that new fencing who's putting that fencing up?
City, Alderman.
The alderman is, I'm sure the chamber is, and it's all about the beautification for the 71st Street beautification plan.
Okay.
So I just wanted to know, will that help with safety? Because every so often, somebody crosses between.
Where they should, right? There's somewhere they should. So if that is happening, I'll look into this more. I think that would help with safety. Of course, you're always going to have those individuals for some reason feel that it's the right thing to do to break the rules. But I think if that is happening, that would, of course, help with safety. If there's going to be fencing that runs all the way up and down the track. The tracks on 70, they run up and down 70.
Both sides, the street
Yeah,
side.
the community we were given like a design plan to choose which ones we wanted to kind of keep with the aesthetics.
Do you know
of
who you're working
social.
with at the city for that? Is that done by, do you know who's doing that?
It's the city is doing it. Yep.
I will follow up with that some more, so if someone can give me a little more
Yeah, 'cause
information
I
on
didn't
that.
even know about that.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that was
Sounds like
that was
And
just
we're not-
coordinated.
CDOT.
Is it
Alderman
recent?
Harrison you might talk to.
Is it recent or is it gonna be done by the end of
A year
2019?
ago.
A year ago, they sent that to
It was
us.
But
announced
did they
at
say when it's gonna be done?
It should be 2020.
Okay.
the, it was announced at the Alderman's meeting.
Yeah.
We'll follow with the Alderman's office.
Yeah, Leslie Harrison's well aware.
Good Lord.
You had another question?
Yeah, the other question was, a long time Metro Rider. You mentioned the monthly pass.
Yes, ma'am.
Any way that can go across train routes, like the UP and Milwaukee? I go to Ravenna sometime and I have my South Shore Metro month.
Money pass.
Yeah, but I wanna go and use that monthly to go to Ravenna.
So, if you do that now on the,
That's too progressive.
no, it's not. No, listen to me. If you want to listen to somebody else's type of director back there. But currently now, with your monthly pass, you should be able to ride on any other lines on the weekend. So if you want to go to Ravinia, you should be able to do that. Now, if you're asking, is that something we consider for the weekend? I need to put that on the table. Weekday. I mean, you heard that, Director Tim?
Weekday.
To expand the ability ability to transfer the monthly or any line outside of your zone at any time.
Right.
Is that your question?
Yeah.
That's the question we have to go put back on the
Yeah, it
table.
could just
and
be
ask.
unlimited and it might cost a few dollars more, but it,
Maybe there's another tier to the monthly pass that's an extra $10,
Right.
and this gets you what you need
Right,
as
right.
well. So those are, I'm gonna let him take credit for those questions. Do I need to describe it?
write it down so you put it in his pocket.
Oh,
No, mine is easy.
Okay.
I saw where you were, in terms of the things that you heard from the last meeting at South Shore, the stations in terms of like, how the appearance and how they look and things like that. Are you all looking at doing something artsy to spruce them up, change the look, make it feel more comfortable, make it reflect the community that in which it is in, like some cultural soul coast kind of thing?
she said that was an easy question.
Sure did.
That's one of those deep, multi-layered questions. So one thing we're looking to do, first, is to clean up and to address some of the very obvious issues that you see when you look at the stations. With the crumbling concrete, you know, the chip paint, the rusted out warming shelters. We are going to be installing new warming shelters, you know, in some of these places on the Metro Electric, the enclosed ones that will have heat. We will also be addressing and enhancing some of what we call them windbreaks. You sit on one side and it has a little covering. So we are going to address those things. Our station design, when you look at our stations on the electric, I don't like sitting up here, stand up. The station design on electric, sometimes we're limited on what we can do this way because you're in between two tracks. So that kind of interferes with when we do new stations now, we will be making those stations ADA accessible. Okay, so that is something we're going to address. When we look at, we have another program within my department that's called Station Enhancement, and that's where you see murals. And so, you know, if a community applies to us and say, we want to do a mural, there is an approval process you need to go to, you need your alderman to approve it. Sometimes the city did have a funding program where they would fund those things. Those are things we work with the community to do. But Metro itself, we per se don't do that because we got 242 stations. If we start doing that, that would take on another massive level of funding. But we will work with the community if there's something you want to do to make the station represent the community. But one of the things we're trying to do is come up with some standards. You know, if you write down, you saw, when I was out here Thursday, I saw a red station, I saw a blue station, I saw a green station. Some of that came from, take the blue station, the 79th Cheltenham, I think that is. That station is blue because that is what the alderman at that time wanted. So sometimes if that's the ones pushing it, you know, but we have to identify what we would call a standard for our station. So we are addressing, looking at that. If you look under some of the stations that are elevated, there's a lot of trash and stuff. We're going to be cleaning that up. We talked about maybe how do we enclose that so that people don't throw trash. And the reason why we want to do this stuff is once we back like the Neighborhood Network Alliance and say, look here now, we need you to help us help you by keeping it clean and tell people stop flyaway dumping, riding down the street throwing out paper because we don't want you on the tracks. We don't want you along the right of way picking up anything because there's a severe hazard. So I gave you a long answer. I hope I said half of what you wanted me to hear, and I probably said a little bit of what you didn't want to hear.
Hey, ma'am, I got a comment too. So Robin, if we're putting those fences up owned by the city of Chicago, wouldn't it be great if we took our arts communities throughout South Shore, throughout wherever the train goes, and you have a little contest? Those fences, I'm guessing now, are owned by the city, not Metro. And so as long as it doesn't protrude into the track space, it's on the outs, you know, the streetscape side, we could have a nice competition among the arts groups and say, you own plot number or mural number 75. Show us what you got. And then now we get some of the flavor from the community and unify all of
And if I could just add to that, murals are great. But what happens with murals at the time will go by and there's nothing in place
to take
care of that. Whoever that artist was or whoever that organization was, it goes away. Now you're stuck with something that, if it's Metro, we didn't do it, so then we got to come in and whitewash and take
Yeah.
it away.
Yeah.
So you just want to be mindful of the future
Yeah.
when you do those kinds
Agreed.
of things in the present. That's just all.
And that's why I want the arts community to own it, so it's
Okay.
theirs.
So, anyone else have any questions before I ask myself?
Is it Metro question?
Yes. So you were talking about fairs. I buy an AB 10 round ticket. I've had occasion to go down to Homewood, Zone E, and an AB ticket is the same price as a BC ticket.
Yes,
Because it's
the
an
last.
adjacent zone. And I had occasion to talk with one conductor, and I wanted to use my AB ticket and pay extra to get me to Zone C, and just pay extra for D and E. And he said, you can't do that. That's an AB ticket, you can only go from A to B, you can't use your AB ticket to go from B to C. So could you put on your list to
I
check
think,
into that?
yeah, and make sure that they're, so if you put on a train, you got to go outside. I think you can pay the difference. So sometimes it's the conductor, but I'll verify.
Well, he wanted me to pay, use my AB and then pay for one.
C to F?
He basically wanted me to buy a B to E ticket and not
ticket.
let me use my BC as the starter. So it's a small one.
I'm writing your question down because I understand. You had AB and you wanted to go from C to E. You were already at B. You wanted to C to E.
I want to go from B to E, and I wanted to use my AB ticket and say, I'm going to extend 2 zones past C.
If I give you my card, can you email me the question so I can get it right? I don't want to mess it up. You have one more question?
Yeah.
You got, and look, no, I want you to email Tanya. Now, you email me, I'm gonna send your email to Tanya. Tanya is the person that's gonna address that. Okay? You got it?
There's
You email me.
there's other things I'll be telling you about
All
in the
right.
future.
Oh,
No, some of it's gonna be positive stuff.
Lord. Okay, good. Send me positive. Yes, oh, yes, ma'am.
It'll come back.
Oh, you made it up. See what you did?
It'll come back. But I did want to ask, because I was back there talking, but I saw where you all had like low-income families. How do they apply? Because it looked like the scale was from 30,000 and then up in terms of membership costs and how that works. And was I off on that?
It's based off the amount of people in your household.
Okay.
So if there's one person in your household, the cutoff of the do for everybody is up to 33,000 and something. And it goes up. I think all the way to like 6 people in your household, and the household income like 8 or something.
Okay.
Yeah, anybody within those range, that range.
So if they make under 30,000, they don't qualify?
No, they do. But like that's the ceiling.
Oh, that's the ceiling.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. And generally, anyone that receives like any type of benefit is eligible.
Okay. So then this is a question for both groups. How do you partner with community organizations that they can bring the community to the table? Today is a rainy day. Generally, our meetings are pretty full. And Metro's been out here before, so I kind of know most of the people.
No problem.
But how do you partner with them, and what does a partnership generally look? What do you expect out of your partner organizations?
So from Metro's perspective, what we look for, one, is a request to partner, and we identify those entities, organizations who we partner with. We're looking for, because we're providing a service to the public, how can we do what we do better? How can we have some advocacy around some of the things that you want to implement? When it comes to funding, increasing service, when it comes to fairs, when it comes to beautification, the stations. Those are the kind of partnerships that we want to have, and then bringing access and awareness to different residents about how they can utilize the service other than Monday through Friday. Like her question was good. I want to go to Ravinia. How do we help them understand? You're on the Metro Electric. To get to Ravinia, you got to get to the west side of the loop. So then, how do we help? So the community organizations would be good to help us as we map that out, to provide that information so you know what you're doing. If you want to take a bike to bike over to the west side of the loop, there, park your bike and then get on the train. So we're just looking for some cooperation and some collaboration. We don't want to do all the work. A lot of the work we can't do. We need you to advocate and talk to the elected officials where the money stream is, so that there's sometimes it's a policy change that needs to take place. It's a policy that needs to be implemented. So that's what we look for.
Okay. What about you?
So for us, the system, the divvy system is expanding, and we try to work with organizations that are in the area of that expansion or areas that are not currently well served by the divvy system. And primarily, we just look for people that are interested in voicing their opinions about these issues to give us feedback, because when we look at where the stations are going to be or things like that, we really do rely on community support. And then finally, we also use events like this as opportunities to sign up new people on the spot for the divvy system, whether it be the divvy for everyone system or the general other system, the other stream. But that's primarily what we look for, and as we expand, we're actually looking for new partnerships in those areas that aren't currently served by the system. We call them financial opportunity centers, and they're locations where people can sign up for the system without a credit card and things like that.
Okay. So do you think that somehow we're going to get CTA here, because they're going to feel real bad?
Yeah, good. Well, Metro's here now.
But if we had like a transportation think tank among the groups, and we work with each other to like maybe send out a survey to the community to hear what they say, bring it back to you all and say, hey, this is what we need help on, this is what we can do, this is something the community can do on its own, we just didn't know, or something like that. Is that something you all would be open to?
That is something that we have talked about. I know Director Tibbs has talked about that kind of relationship, but we want to do it from a perspective where it's substantive, meaning that not just, it's one thing to show up and have a complaint and have an opinion.
Right.
We know all of those things. We're beyond that. We're at a point of how we get some action.
Exactly.
And then how do we inform you on whatever the new ideas are, the new information. Say all of a sudden there is a change that you can use your monthly or anywhere in our system. How do you pass it out? Sometimes you can reach the people that we can't reach because we assume, and Director Jim says this all the time, the response has been, it's on the website. But then how many people take the time to really go to our website unless they actually need something? So we have to put that information out there so that the ones who are touching the people where they are can actually put that information out. So I would say that would be good to have. I would say before we do it, before you make the call for us to be a part of a task force or a think tank, we need to talk about what is the mission, the vision of it and the mission. Because, a think tank is good for us to bounce ideas off and share things and help us coordinate and get into the community. But I think it would be good first to have a pre-meeting to discuss what it is that you are looking for. And I believe with the chamber, that would be a good place to start. Give me late. I say yes.
Yeah, so the chamber deals with businesses and we deal with the community.
Oh, okay, network for yes.
That's a little different. So I will probably try to facilitate something like that, not anytime within the next 60 days. It'll probably, no, sometimes after the next 60 days.
Then we can do some,
yeah, or I'm doing so many meetings because that's what.
Maybe on a Saturday, okay, yeah.
No, it might be on a weekday, but what I'm saying is it would be trying to get each of those groups in the room just to have that conversation, because what I hear coming out of this meeting is there's a lot of information that you all have that's not really getting to the block, right?
Yes.
So we're a block club organization. We get to the block. We have access to over 700 block clubs.
So you're the person we need to connect more with so we can push out the information. And I would say that it's good when you have this forum, if you can already identify what are some of the issues so that it's not a session that we're sitting there for a couple hours and everybody's griping.
Right.
But,
well, the first meeting wouldn't even be with the community members. It would be like, how do we collaborate?
Okay.
What does that look like? What do you all need from us? What do you need from each other? So, in the future.
all right,
Okay.
we're here.
Okay. So I'm doing 2 more questions and then we have to go.
Divvy, do you guys also represent Lyft?
Well,
They are,
So Lyft bought Motivate, which owns most of the bike share companies in the world. Yeah, and in the United States. So City Bike, Divvy, GoGo Bike, Vichy Bike in Canada, etc. are all under Lyft.
Any incentives that Lyft is offering right now, or any information that they're trying to get out to the community?
Right now, Divvy, Lyft, under the Lyft brand,
Right.
they have to buy scooters. This is something that they're trying to expand right now. Yeah, it's not Divvy related.
And really, when you look at equity and bike share, Divvy is the model because each bike share has its own different priorities, different chain of command and all that kind of stuff. But Divvy really is the model.
When they acquired the main company, they tried to maintain the culture throughout each of the bike share companies that they acquired, like City Bike in New York City, like Divvy here. So they maintain their staff, and they're looking to us to tell them how it should be, how it should be better served, as opposed to Lyft, who's never dealt with this type of corporation before, trying to tell us what we need to do.
So, the question before about taking your ticket and going from one train to another, like to Virginia. So, none of the stations in Hyde Park, for instance, are ADA certified. And I've actually been involved before in a wheelchair-related federal complaint. So, if I bring my bike on the Metro Electric downtown and ride across the loop to Ogilvy Station, can I take that bike on the train?
Yeah, the bike on train policy is the same, except during rush hour. In rush hour, the conductor has the option, depending on, because our trains are not necessarily, we have a place for you to
The
fit.
corridor's narrow.
Yes, but the bike policy is the same. And I will say that 5960th Street Station is one of the stations that, as a result of the capital funding, is on the list that will be brand new.
Elevator?
And it's going to have elevators at both ends, so I think it's 4 elevators.
But so 47, 51st.
We gotta get to those. Let's accomplish this one good thing. The reason we're doing 5960 is why.
It's busy,
I know you don't care about it. You don't want it, but don't be sick.
No, they might be there.
Okay. That's
Okay.
terrific, thank you.
well, the meeting is over. And I would like to say thank you all for coming out. Thank you